Okay, let me share my screen. Okay, so this is a quick training on like how to start an initial buyer consultation. So what I'm going to do is, be on the phone typically with them, got the computer screen share going, I have my video up, and I'm like, hey, Dan, how's it going? So great to chat with you. Thanks so much for applying. I wanted to let you know today I was thinking we could kind of go over numbers, go over some next steps, maybe cover a home buyer tip or two. Does that sound good to you? Okay, great. Was there any like immediate questions or concerns you wanted to cover first? Okay, cool. And let's say I haven't taken the loan application like my LP1 did it, or they did it online. I'll be like, okay, hey, so tell me how you know Gail. Okay, awesome. You know Gail here. So I'll do the triangle of trust. Okay, so I'm going to usually talk a little bit about Gail, talk about how amazing she is. Say, hey, I really, Dan, want to earn your trust. Gail's an important business partner of mine. I'm honored she referred you to me, and I'm excited to help you. And so just so we can kind of get a little bit on the same page, I want to make sure I have my notes together. Can you give me a little bit of background on kind of your plan? Like ideally, Dan, when do you want to be in your new home? Okay, cool. All right, awesome. So like your lease is coming up in August, and so when's your last rent payment? Okay, so it's July 1st? Okay, so you gotta be out by August 1st. Okay, cool. So, Dan, a lot of times first time homebuyers don't realize this, like if you close on July 1st, your first mortgage payment is not till September 1st. You close on June 1st, your first mortgage payment is not till August 1st. And I'll kind of walk them through that a little bit and talk about how they can like not be stuck with a rent payment and mortgage payment the same month. Then I'll be like, okay, like, hey, do you think you're going to be doing any type of renovations, or do you think you buy a house that's move-in ready? Okay, great. Do you think you need to buy some furniture, or do you already have enough that when you move in, you'll probably be okay for a while? Okay, cool. Yeah, the average first-time home buyer, or the first time, actually, the average buyer will typically spend about $5,000 to $7,000 on home improvements and furnishing. So I like to just put that on your radar so that when you start to budget, you're not just thinking down payment, you're also thinking of some of those other things that can kind of pop up in the process. And so where are you in the process right now? Have you identified a property you want to make an offer on, or are you more just in the information gathering stage? Okay, cool, awesome. So then I'll be like, okay, hey, well, I put together some quotes for you. I'm going to recommend a conventional loan. I'm going to recommend we put 5 and 10% down. I put together two options for you. And we did a $300,000 purchase price and a 350. Does that sound about right? Dan, did you want me to run any other scenarios for you? Okay, cool, cool. And then like, I've got your pre-approved, okay? But what's the comfort payment you're at? Like ideally, where do you want your mortgage payment to be? Okay, cool. Like, so if we kind of land around here, you feel like as long as we stay below that, that'll help. Okay, good. I'll give that information to Gail. That way, I mean, you could be pre-approved for much higher, but we probably want to have you shopping probably right around 300, 350. And we'll walk through the numbers here in a second. And then in terms of, like, I see that you've got about $50,000 in your checking and savings account. About how much of that are you actually comfortable spending getting into the home? Okay, cool, awesome. So then I've got some different scenarios, and we can kind of determine which is going to be the best way to keep you kind of within your budget. But we've got you fully pre-approved, which is great news. So you're ready to make offers. Pre-approval is good for 4 months. Okay, awesome. So let's just jump into a quick home buyer tip or two, and then we'll go into the numbers I prepared for you. Does that sound good? Awesome. Okay. So I would say buying a home and getting a mortgage is somewhat comparable to going on vacation and going through airport security. What I mean by that is like buying a home is typically fun. Getting a mortgage is not the most fun, Dan. I wish it was, but while all mortgage companies tend to require a certain amount of documentation, I like to view myself more like the TSA line at the airport. My goal is to try and get you through this process as quickly and pleasantly as possible, Dan. But in terms of just setting expectations, buying a home and getting a mortgage, or let me rephrase that. What 9/11 did to the airline industry, 2008 did to the mortgage industry. So in the last 12 years, we've become one of the most highly regulated industries out there. And so because of that high degree of regulation, it just creates an environment where there could be frustration. In fact, a recent study showed 68% of people who go through this process don't like the process or the loan officer by the end of the transaction. Dan, I do not want that to be you. Okay, you referred from Gail, and we have an amazing experience. But so I find if I'm upfront about some of the things that could create frustration, we have a higher likelihood of avoiding it. Does that make sense? Okay, cool. So then I'll maybe cover these three things, and then I'll say, okay, great. Any questions on this? Do you want me to go into greater? Well, actually, I'll cover that, and then I'll say, hey, uh, Dan, the industry is super frustrating at times, but some things you can expect of me if you do choose to work with me. I guarantee I'll be super transparent upfront about my rates and fees. That's why I wanted to go through the extra step to set up a video consult so that we can go through the numbers, first time, line by line, make sure you're totally comfortable with it. Okay. Secondly, there's several different stages of approval in this process, but I'm gonna try and make it as fun and easy for you to get me these documents as possible. And number three, I guarantee I close on time or you don't pay my lender fees. Okay? So I'm gonna hold up my side of the bargain. Okay? Any questions on that? Great. Boom. So we're gonna hit stop recording.